At Chicago O'Hare International Airport, Jake Sullivan, a former Marine turned security officer, begins his daily patrol. Walking beside him is Max, his loyal K-9 partner, a sharp-eyed German Shepherd trained to detect threats. Together, they make their way through the busy baggage claim area. Jake has grown familiar with the repetitive nature of his job, crowds moving constantly, the clatter of suitcase wheels echoing across the floor, but something about today feels unusual. He can't quite explain it. As they near a secluded spot next to a deserted luggage carousel, Max abruptly halts. His body goes rigid, ears pointed forward, without any command. He starts barking at a single, battered suitcase left alone. Jake tries to pull him back, but the dog refuses to move. Max's barking grows louder, reverberating through the area and attracting the attention of nearby travelers. Jake's heart starts to race. This doesn't seem like a false alert. He signals another officer to call for backup while attempting to calm his partner. Within minutes, reinforcements arrive and establish a careful perimeter around the suspicious bag. Officer Mitchell, Jake's supervisor, gives a quiet nod. Jake steps aside, holding Max close. The officers cautiously unzip the suitcase. As the zipper glides open, a hush falls over the space. Inside, curled up and trembling, lies a little girl no older than 4. Her hair is tangled into dark, damp curls that stick to her forehead, and her skin is pale. Wide, frightened eyes stare back at them. No one speaks. Jake is struck with disbelief as he stares at the fragile child, who grips a threadbare teddy bear tightly against her chest. Memories of his own daughter, lost years before, flash in his mind. Instinctively, he kneels down, trying to meet her eye. "Hey there, sweetheart," he says softly. The child blinks, shifting her gaze between the officers, unable to speak out of fear. A paramedic rushes over, quickly checking her vitals. She's alive, but clearly traumatized. Jake watches as she's gently lifted from the suitcase and wrapped in a blanket, the tiny frame nearly swallowed by it. The medics carry her to the airport's medical facility, but Jake lingers, still processing what he saw: the empty suitcase and the stunned expressions on the officers around him. None of them need to speak to understand this is no ordinary security issue. Officer Mitchell approaches and places a comforting hand on Jake's shoulder. "Sullivan, go down to the medical unit. She'll need someone familiar when she wakes." Jake nods. It feels good to have something meaningful to do beyond writing a report. As he walks through the sterile hallways toward the clinic, his thoughts race. Who is this child? How did she end up inside a suitcase at an airport? And why does he feel such a strong connection to her already? When Jake arrives at the medical unit, he finds her lying quietly on a bed, still clinging to her teddy bear. She looks so small and defenseless under the bright white sheets. Jake remains near the door, careful not to disturb her. As he watches over her, a deep sense of duty begins to settle inside him. In the days that follow, the story spreads like wildfire across media outlets. The girl in the suitcase captures the public's attention, and law enforcement ramps up their investigation. But every lead turns cold. No child reported missing fits her appearance. No family comes forward. Her identity remains a mystery, while the world sees her as a tragic news headline. To Jake, she's become a child in need of shelter and care. The authorities notice how calm she seems around him and ask Jake to remain close. Eventually, he agrees to take on temporary guardianship, an offer he accepts with a mix of responsibility and faint hope. Back at home, Jake starts making changes. He converts his guest room into a safe space for her, adding a small bed and some donated toys. He's careful not to do too much too fast, aiming to make her feel secure. They begin calling her Emma. She hardly speaks, and when she does, her voice is faint. The only thing she seems to remember are vague, large, cold house, and repeated commands to stay silent. Her teddy bear never leaves her side, as if it's her last thread of safety. Jake doesn't force questions. He lets her adjust in her own time, creating quiet routines to help her feel at home. Gradually, small moments begin to surface. Morning meals bring timid smiles. Jake usually makes simple dishes like scrambled eggs and toast. They spend quiet afternoons by the window, watching the world outside. Occasionally, Emma will point at a bird or a car, and Jake gently encourages her curiosity. When night comes and sleep doesn't, Jake remains close by, offering her a quiet presence to help her rest. One night, as Jake tidies up, he hears a soft voice behind him. Emma stands in the doorway, teddy bear in hand, staring at the floor. "I had a house, big, with a lot of people," she murmurs, her voice tinged with both fear and longing. Jake pauses, his chest tightening. He kneels down, keeping his voice calm. "A big house?" he asks gently. She nods slowly, eyes distant. "It's not much, but it's something, a sign that trust is growing." Over time, Emma begins to share fragments of memory. She recalls a strict woman who disliked her speaking. Jake starts putting the pieces together, realizing each detail might lead to the truth. He passes along what he learns to the police, but without anything solid. The investigation stalls. Meanwhile, Jake reflects on his own grief and the unexpected connection he's forming with Emma. Though they were strangers, he feels deeply protective of her. Her progress, however small, feels like a personal mission. And though their story is far from complete, Jake starts to believe that maybe, just maybe, they've become a family. Weeks go by, and Jake becomes used to Emma's quiet but constant presence. She shows flickers of trust, like a small smile, a hand reaching for his, or the way she relaxes near him. Still, he knows they're running out of time. The case has gone cold, and he fears that whoever hurt her might still be out there. One rainy afternoon, while they watch water trickle down the window pane, Emma speaks. "There was a lady. She didn't like me to talk." Her voice is barely above a whisper. Jake listens intently, resisting the urge to push her further. In the days that follow, more memories emerge. A large, cold mansion, strict routines, and a constant feeling of fear. Each detail feels like a breadcrumb on a trail that's still incomplete. Determined to help, Jake takes matters into his own hands. He spends sleepless nights researching properties that fit her descriptions. Most leads go nowhere. Then, finally, a breakthrough. A woman at a local shelter remembers whispers about a remote mansion outside the city, a place rumored to be oppressive and secretive. Gripped by determination, Jake drives out to the area and parks at a distance. The mansion is massive, cloaked in shadows, and surrounded by high walls. Security cameras dot the perimeter. He watches quietly, unsettled by the sense that this might be where Emma came from. He wonders if the walls are meant to keep people out or keep someone in. Back at home, he shares his suspicions with a detective friend, who promises to look into any complaints or property records tied to the estate. While waiting for updates, Jake keeps his focus on Emma, doing everything he can to help her feel safe. He understands that small gestures carry weight, and each time she trusts him a little more, it feels like progress. Yet, beneath their calm, Jake is aware that the past still threatens to resurface. One evening, as he tucks her in, she suddenly clutches his hand tightly. "Will you stay?" she asks, eyes wide with both hope and fear. The question hits Jake hard. In that moment, he realizes how much she means to him. "Yes, Emma, I'll stay. I promise," he replies quietly, reassuring her and himself. As she drifts off to sleep, Jake knows that whatever shadows may come, he won't face them alone. Because now, it's not just about finding out who she is, it's about protecting the family he never thought he'd have.